kill you. Oh, what the fuck? I was like, damn, your shit look different. Hold on, I think I got one. I don't have a green screen. There we go. Oh no, here we go. Fuck this movie. Okay, I'm done.
Huh? Oh, nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare for a cinematic odyssey through the 100 greatest films spanning from the roaring 1920s to the cutting-edge masterpieces of 2024. Carefully curated from the lovely people on Letterboxd. Two intrepid souls embark on a journey through a treasure trove of timeless classics and groundbreaking contemporary works, where each frame embodies the enduring magic of the silver screen. Grab your popcorn and join us on this epic expedition through a century of cinematic excellence, where every film promises to enchant, inspire, and leave an indelible mark on the soul. And now, for your listening pleasure, here are the Letterbros.
Welcome, everybody, to the newest episode of Letterbros, where we let a wheel decide our fate and what movie we will watch next, based off the top 100 movies on Letterboxd. And as always, I'm Felix, and that is Parker. How we doing today, buddy?
I'll tell you, Felix, it's good to be back. I know that there's probably just, so many people that have been waiting for our 38th episode?
37th episode.
I know that there's probably so many people that have been waiting for our 37th episode. Myself included, yourself included. Yeah. We're not done. We're going to make it through all 100. And then I've been thinking, since we started this, however long ago, there have probably been a considerable amount of movies added to the top 100.
Oh, absolutely.
But we gotta make it through the wheel first, for sure.
Correct.
But I'm excited to be back. I enjoyed this movie, and we get to spin the wheel today again, Felix. Any day you get to spin the wheel is a good day. It's the universe putting a new adventure in front of you. So,
no, I'm definitely excited. I've been dying to get back. Obviously, there has been some time since we released our last one. We released Perfect Blue like a while ago. But since then, I had another pup added to the family who has been a labor of love, I'll say. And so obviously she's been pissing everywhere and just being a puppy, which is fine. But now she's gotten to a point where I'm like, I can go into the office now and not worry about her peeing on my carpet or anywhere. So she's good now. She's in here with me, but I don't want to touch her.
Start going crazy. She's very cute.
She is very cute. I'll post a picture right here. Look at that. It's cute. I'm sorry. I was like also trying to stall just because I want to see the person who, Green Donuts, who posted 5 months ago on the Dune Part 2 review.
Oh yeah.
So is this series canceled?
That's who I was thinking of. Thank you, Green Donuts. You keep us inspired.
Yeah. And Kevin D4850, who like will consistently just like throw up like just a paragraph long, like in-depth comment about like what we're talking about. So shout out to him. Love it. And yeah, I'm excited to be back.
Me too. And I'm excited to be talking about.
Yeah.
What's that?
What's what?
What'd you say?
Why don't you continue the episode part?
I was going to say I am excited to be back, Felix, and I'm especially excited to be back talking about 1974's A Woman Under the Influence, directed by John Cassavetes.
Yeah, I'd say it's interchangeable. I'm like, this guy's he's Italian, right? John Cassavetes
an actor. Don't go making claims that you can't back up.
He's from New York. There's one.
Well, I know he did. I'm pretty sure he did leave Hollywood. From my understanding,
John
Cassavetes was not entirely huge on the idea of Hollywood and the way that Hollywood worked. So he did spend a lot of time in New York out of his own preference. This is also an independent film. And yeah, it has some big name actors, but this is a kind of a staple of American independent film. And yeah, Cassavetes was disassociated from Hollywood as much as he could be, just out of personal taste, from my understanding. and he's got a great filmography, not one that I've not really dove into yet. And based off this movie, I think a lot of them are similar in terms of their emotional depth and exhaustion, probably, that you feel after watching them. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's introduce the film that we're going to be discussing today. We have A Woman Under the Influence, again written and directed by John Cassavetes. It follows the, one could say, emotional unraveling of a woman named Mabel Longgetti as she struggles with her mental health, with domestic responsibilities, with societal expectations, and the expectations of her family. Her husband, Nick, also is grappling with his own inability to process emotions, which generates a tension that exposes both the strength and fragility of their family dynamic. So, what we have here really is a character study. In my opinion, we're getting a lot of in depth character work from our two leads in the movie, Nick and Mabel, played by Peter Falk of Columbo fame and Gina Rowlands, respectively. And they
Mhm.
both turn in incredible performances, especially Gina Rowlands, which is just insane what she does. Kind of reminiscent of our first movie, Sunset Boulevard, in terms of strong performances, in my opinion. But yeah, what are your initial thoughts on this movie, Felix?
So exhaustion is definitely the first word that comes to mind. Some other movies that, and specifically just like the type of movies that I initially think of is like a Safdie brothers movie.
Sure, if
Like,
you're bringing it to more like modern day.
yeah, definitely. I mean, like Good Time, that was it. With Robert Pattinson. That
Mhm.
movie stressed me out. And then Uncut Gems also, like, it's like that one's more so just like anxiety exhaustion just based off of like the situation that they place their characters in. But this one is just more so like emotional exhaustion, but also like a lot of secondhand embarrassment, like for the characters in general. Like it's so exhausting to watch, but I literally have it here. I'm like, Gina Rowlands is like a car crash. Like you don't know what's gonna happen next, and you're so worried about what'll happen, but you can't stop watching.
Yeah, and the way that her personality is portrayed in the film is certainly captivating. I think that what I appreciate most about this movie is the fact that it makes me think about perspective of other characters a lot. And there's a lot that you can really dive into there. I would say, in contrast to Good Time and Uncut Gems, movies along those lines, yes, I agree they are anxiety inducing, similar to A Woman Under the Influence. However, A Woman Under the Influence is anxiety inducing in a way that's much more slowly paced than those two movies, I would say. And while it still moves along in a way that's effective, I wouldn't say that it's necessarily boring. It certainly takes its time, and the time that it though there's a lot of very long shots in this film that are also extreme close-ups. And when you bring those two together and there are things that are uncomfortable happening with us having that perspective, that's what makes it uncomfortable rather than a lot of the fast-paced anxiety inducing movement stress, here, there, everywhere, running around that the Safdie brothers kind of have put out recently. But
Yeah.
I do
You
agree
could
with
definitely tell that this movie was filmed in the 70s with all these like classic like crash zooms into characters and a lot of shots of just people's faces.
Yeah, I really
Just right
loved
up in the camera.
the shot.
Like the one that I think got me the most, because it also just like it heightens that sense of like claustrophobia that like you're just stuck with this situation.
Mhm,
And I'm gonna jump around the plot like all over the place. But when Mabel comes back from the hospital and she sees the kids for the first time,
mhm,
and I mean it's done so effectively of like they keep telling her like, or Nick says, "Don't go see the kids. It's going to be too much on the first day." And then Nick's mom was like, "No, no, no. You should go see the kids." Blah blah blah. And as soon as she enters the room, like you don't even see the kids. You're just following Mabel, and it's just all up in her face, and you can just feel her trying to balance like not. And she literally says, "Like I'm trying not to get excited," but like as a lot of like movies, like even Scenes from a Marriage, I feel like a lot of like the crash zooms like kind of like took me out of the movie.
oh, okay.
And again, we see that a lot in 70s movies. This one, I felt like it was a little more effective in creating that tension and creating that anxiety that you feel watching the film. So,
And I think too, it wasn't always just an extreme close up on the person that was talking. In fact, many times it was on the people that were listening, which I just absolutely loved because it allowed you to sit and soak in the way that these other words are affecting the people like around the characters that we're following. For example, in that same scene, when Mabel is sitting at the table with the rest of the family and she's telling a joke, and you just are on the kids for maybe 45 seconds watching them as they listen to their mother, and they don't have any dialogue over the course of the time that they're on close up, but they're just listening and there's still dialogue coming from Mabel that typically you would think we're watching because that is who is speaking over the course of almost a full minute, but you don't see her whatsoever. And I really appreciated that about this film. It does. It makes you feel like you're living there with the characters in a
yeah.
very intimate way.
I
But
had
let's
to
go.
look up to see like if this was, because I honestly thought this was like an adaptation of of like an actual like stage play, because
Oh,
it very much feels like that. Like we're always
I don't
either
think it
in the
is, right?
house or we're at work. Like it's no, it's originally written by John Cassavetes.
Right, as a screenplay.
Yeah, as a
Yeah.
screenplay. Like he made this film like this is an original like idea by John Cassavetes, which I'm
Mhm.
like, where the hell did this come from, John? Like where did this idea like kind of come from? So I
Yeah. Well, from people I've talked to, a lot of his movies are not, I wouldn't say similar because I haven't seen his other movies, but from people that I've talked to, a lot of his movies are emotionally draining and follow similar story arcs of people fighting through their
I
suffering.
mean even like thinking of like other like independent filmmakers like Sean Baker, how like he always kind of focuses on like not lower level tier employed people in his movies like Anora and like the Florida Project, but like there's always a common theme of like independent filmmakers who like a certain like genre of life and just like making movies about that. And so I'm hesitant to watch more of his filmography just because of how the way this movie made me feel. But I
Sure.
mean, sometimes to enjoy art, you gotta put yourself in an uncomfortable position, dude. And I certainly did during this movie, for sure.
I know that we tend to try to speak about films in chronological order and how we felt about things that played out and the way that they played out over the course of the movie. But in general, I want to talk about the way I just want to talk about mental health in this film. And what I think something that I think is very, very interesting, and just a thought that I had by the end of it, after, as I was watching it and by the end of it, is that I would consider both Mabel and Nick to be equally as mentally unwell. It's just that their expressions of mental unwellness are A, portrayed differently and expressed differently, and B, interpreted differently based off of societal expectations, specifically in the 70s, by those around them. But there are several instances throughout the film in which Nick just snaps at people and starts yelling at them when they're just having conversation. There's a scene in which Nick calls Mabel insecure, says, "Why are you so insecure? Why are you so insecure?" Which, yeah, I would say that she has obviously an incredibly difficult time dealing with social interaction and doesn't feel confident in herself. But Nick is also very clearly insecure, and that's showcased when he doesn't want to speak to anybody about Mabel going into, as they would call it, the nut house. And his insecurity leads to someone falling down a hill and breaking bones because he was being so aggro about the entire situation and unable
Mhm.
to interpret and express his feelings in a
Yeah.
moderate way. So I just think it's interesting because throughout the film, Nick's mental health is never once questioned or mentioned. But me as an audience member watching it, I feel it's very clear that he is also struggling with mental health issues.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts on that? Like, I don't know. I think that also based on the interpretations of the other characters in the movie, Mabel is incredibly quirky and probably has, a mental health issue that prevents her from processing social interaction in an effective way. But
Yeah.
she's certainly not crazy or mentally ill enough to warrant shock therapy or extreme sedation. And so I just think it's very interesting the way that mental health is portrayed in this film. I think they do a really great job of it. Made me think a lot, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on that as well.
No, I was pleasantly surprised at how they handled the topic of just mental illness in general in a movie in the 70s. Like, you could easily see this. Like, if this was a movie made in the 50s, they would just like hyper like exaggerate the features of mental illness in Mabel and make her seem like this absolute nut, like psychopath, or like this like cartoon character, which like she is. Like, she's definitely like a cartoon character, but
She's quirky, yeah.
she's quirky, and she definitely has some form of Tourette's. Like, she has quirks that she does, and like even Nick like points them out when she comes back home, like
Mm-hmm.
even saying like, "Can I get a ba ba?" or
Mm-hmm.
"Can I get a?" Like, she, like, just some of the things she does. Like, she'll always like kind of do this, like throwing her like thumb back and kind
Right.
of like blowing a raspberry at something that like she disagrees with, or that doesn't make her happy. She does that a lot when like the family, when like the guy comes over with his kids and that he doesn't feel comfortable leaving them with her.
Mm-hmm.
She does it a lot. But I also just think it's some forms of like, there's a lot of like different mental illnesses represented. Like, even in the beginning when, you know, she legit just like takes a dude home from a bar within the first 20 minutes of the movie, and she
Mm-hmm.
just thinks it's Nick, which we never hear about ever again, except when
Right.
like Nick's mom brings it up, but like nobody even like gives it attention. Like, we never hear about this person again. But
Right.
I mean, some forms of dementia, like some forms of Tourette's, like she's got a lot going on. And I mean, even just like, part of me also thought of like what people think, and like not to always bring things back to horror, but like what people think like possession was back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
There are definitely moments
Sure.
where like she's literally grunting like an animal. Like,
Yeah.
she's like dumb, like demonic at some points, especially during like the big climax before they actually commit her to the hospital. Like, she'll have moments of like pure calm and then just like go fucking bananas and just not and nonverbal. So it's
Sure. Well, I'm sure that it certainly doesn't help her to communicate when she's being slapped in the face by her husband. So
and I'm talking, it's not a slap. Like, he is like
right.
KOing this woman like
So
3 times in this movie. Like,
right.
it's awful.
And I mean, they clearly love each other, which again is just a testament to the direction and the performances in this film. Because whenever they're speaking to each other, like you can tell there is a yearning for the other person to be happy. But oftentimes it gets wrapped up, especially on Nick's side. I want her to be happy in a way that is acceptable for me specifically.
Yeah.
And
And I mean, he throws down like I typed down a lot of quotes from the movie. Like, there's a lot of, like, the first one that comes to mind here is like, she's delicate. She's not like a normal person, when he's talking to his union buddies, which I love. I love
Mhm.
his group of friends. I think they
Yeah,
are like, I want to be a part of this. I want to be a part of this little gang of like Italian/African American men. Like, they're so fun. But I mean, they all know that there's something wrong with Mabel. He also, like, in a conversation says, "I don't mind you being a lunatic." And Mabel replies, "Well, tell me what you want me to be." Like, you could tell that she is aware-ish of her condition and wants to work on making it better for the sake of her family and her marriage.
hmm
But honestly, like, good on you for bringing up that Nick might also have a mental illness, because I honestly just thought that this was just a husband deteriorating from having to deal with the mental issues that his wife is enduring. But there are those moments of like extreme anger and then just extreme docile behavior, like towards his wife,
hmm
saying like, "Oh, I love you," and then smacking the shit out of her in front of the kids, and just calling her, like, even like literally threatening to kill his wife and children
yeah.
at
And
one point.
he has emotional detachment issues. Like he can't even hang out with his kids on his own. Like he commissions a coworker to
Yeah.
come with him,
That
and the
was
coworker,
honestly one of the most stressful scenes of the movie when he's taking these kids to the beach.
right? And clearly, I mean, it goes to show that the other parent in the movie, likely based off what we see throughout the film, would have trusted Nick. Anyone would have trusted Nick with their kids, right? But he's getting them drunk, and all Mabel was doing was telling him to go play costume. Like, yeah, she. My interpretation of this film, and this could be wildly wrong. Maybe I'm speaking out of line. I don't know. What I took away is like in the film, Mabel's mental illness is blown up to a magnitude farther than which I think it really is. And I think that she's weird and she has some stuff going on, but I don't think
Mhm.
like I already stated, I don't think that she is like a hazard to society, you know.
Yeah.
And then
Like, thinking about it now, like, I don't think, like, the big, like, outburst, like, the climax of the movie is not necessarily coming from her mental illness only. Like, it's coming from the environment around her. Like, Nick's mom is certainly not helping in this case at
oh,
all.
not at all.
She is pouring gasoline onto this giant fire that is Mabel. And so, like, thinking about it now, I'm like, yeah, like, if that wouldn't have happened, if the doctor wasn't there, if mom wasn't there, and it was just Nick literally just trying to, like, the whole time she's like, saying all of these like crazy things, like Nick is just there quietly saying I love you, like trying to like de-escalate the situation. But I mean, you're right, like I agree with you that Mabel could possibly just, like, she has obviously has some sort of mental illness, but it's not to Nick's level where it could lead to like these extremes if agitated. Like
Mhm.
Nick is unagitated mental illness that he will just go ballistic for literally no reason.
Right. Almost like borderline. I mean, because he starts yelling at people. And there I also want to talk about maybe my favorite, yet simultaneously the most heartbreaking span of the film. And it's set up first by Nick getting into a small shouting match with Mabel's father, where he says, "Don't tell me to sit down." And he
Oh
stands up
yeah.
for himself and he kind of talks back to Nick because Nick is talking mean towards him. And so
Hmm.
eventually Mabel calms her dad down and her dad sits down. And then later at the table, she says, "Dad, will you please stand up for me? Will you please stand up for me?" And he thinks that she's just babbling nonsense because throughout the whole movie, everyone just assumes that she's just crazy. But she's asking, and her mom even says, "Don't you see what she's asking us to do? Stand up
Yeah.
for me." And he thinks that she's just being crazy, telling him to literally stand up, and it never lands. And then finally the
Yeah.
kids are the ones that stand up for their own mother, and that whole sequence is great too. But it
Hmm.
was so sad just to hear like so well
Yeah.
acted by everybody
That
too.
she's literally like, stand up for me. Actually, no, sit down. I don't know what I want. Like, because she could clearly see that like her dad does not know what she's talking about and is just seeing the mental illness. He's not seeing through that to see his daughter like literally crying out for help to
Yeah,
her father.
and he would not stand up for her to Nick, but he stood up for himself to Nick. And then
Yeah.
when it came for him to stand up for his daughter, he just didn't know that there was any standing up to do at all. He
Yeah.
was oblivious to it.
He's just like that, like treating her like a piece of glass, just like being very delicate and just like, there, it's gonna be okay.
Hmm.
Like, but you have to stand up for your child. Like you're like, I don't know. Like I want to like Nick, but there he does a lot of things that make me not like him at all.
Yeah,
So
but he's still an empathetic character, I'd say.
yeah,
That's
absolutely. I
that's
mean,
testament to Peter
he's
Falk.
dealing with a tough situation and is not in the right mindset to be able to handle that situation. So I was just looking through my notes here. I have one stupid one that says Mabel's dad over here looking like Walt Disney in his
He kind of
little like
did.
in his little pinstripe suit and mustache. That's all I could think about watching. I was just like, this is just like angry Walt Disney. Like this is like Walt Disney behind the scenes type stuff.
So I guess we should mention award nods for this film. You got a
Yeah.
best actress nod for Gina Rowlands and a
Hmm.
best director nod for John Cassavetes as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was an independent film. It was financed by Peter Falk and John Cassavetes. So yeah, this is just great
Yeah,
American
I mean,
independent
she
filmmaking.
did win a Golden Globe for Best Actress, though. So
Okay,
this movie did get some accolades, which is great.
yeah,
And
and I can't
especially
believe
for
it was
Gina
widely.
Rowlands, like that is duh.
Yeah,
I'm
oh yeah,
very surprised that she didn't win Best Actress. What Gina Rowlands does for this role, though, I mean, like there literally be points where she's not even the main focus of like the scene, and you can see her like continuing to just tick in the background, like
yeah,
mouthing words
yeah.
like that she doesn't want to say out loud. Like she's fully embodying this character, and it must be so exhausting to do on a film set. So props to actors. One scene in particular that I thought the way that I viewed it made it a little bit more enjoyable to watch, was when she's literally just like in the streets of LA, like just going up to people asking for the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I thought this was just like you tell Gina Rowland, okay, you're just go in the streets of LA, you're you, and just start asking random like LA like locals for the time.
Is that what happened, or
I don't think so, but it definitely felt like it was because like these people were like naturally acting like what the like get away from me. And she's like asking them the time and like just
I may be misremembering this, but doesn't Nick also ask someone for the time at some point during the movie, and it's just given to him, like as another way of showing there's just different type of.
I don't remember, but I mean, hey man.
I might be misremembering. I thought he was on the job site asking someone for the time, but
Oh dude, then there's the fucking um when she has that not when the friend comes over with his children,
yeah.
um and she asks him in the beginning, do you want some tea? And he is like, no, I don't want any tea, whatever. As it goes through, the kids are playing in the background, and then he asks, how do you happen to have that tea? And she says, oh, screw the tea. And as soon as that fucking line finishes, Swan Lake starts playing, and I
Mhm.
thought it was the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Can I have my tea now?
Oh, screw the tea. What's the matter with you? Hey, you hear that? You don't believe in miracles? That's Swan Lake. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Like in the movie, or it's just one of those like those music beats, which like you could look into a little more, like why Swan Lake. Like you could think of like, oh, it's the Black Swan, like the one out of the ordinary, like that's Mabel, and that's why she like leans more towards that song, and she continues to sing it throughout. But I mean, that was a crazy like needle drop.
And a great sequence where all the kids are dying for him, and she says, "Look, they're dying for you. They're dying for you."
Miss Swan Lake. You remember the dying swan? Come on, let's come and die for Mr. Jensen. Bravo! Bravo! Bravo!
Yeah,
She's
and
like,
you literally
"Die,
have one of the kids
die."
just like
It's
huddled down, like, and then that's when all the kids are, getting costumes, and now there's like grandma being like, "There's a child naked running around," like,
but that's
uh,
because that the friend goes up and starts saying, "Take all this off. Take all this off. Like, go get dressed." Like
yeah.
Mabel didn't have these kids naked. They were, like in costumes running around. I don't know. That
No, she didn't. No, and the boys were like playing pirates, like they had like
right. They were having fun
shirts
being
and
kids. Like
yeah,
it,
like
it,
it's
it was supposed to be a play date.
no that
Anyways,
sequence also pissed me off. That's also when Nick starts fighting this guy in his own home.
yeah.
Again, just
Well,
a
and Nick,
car crash. Like
yeah.
shit would just happen, and I'm just like, what the hell else is going to be happening in this movie?
Mhm.
To a fault. Like there were times where it's like I get it, and we'll get to this more in the rankings. But unless you have any other like beats to like kind of mention before we dive into it.
Yeah, no, I agree. This movie very much is one of those that's more a sequence of events rather than one like there is an overarching story that's taking place here, but it's more so told in just sequence of events style. So I get what you're saying. I'm ready to move into the rankings. Let's do it. I've enjoyed talking about it, but I'm also ready to spin the wheel.
Yeah.
My-
Well, let's see where the movie stacks in relation to everything else. I also like that.
Yeah,
But yeah, let's dive
let's
into it
do it.
here.
You want to take
And
a
then let
quick
me
break and then before we hop into it?
Yeah, let me get some agüita.
Alrighty, get that
I'll be
agüita.
right back. All right, so if you're ready, we're gonna dive into these rankings, buddy.
Let's do it. Let me pull them up.
All right. So for enjoyability and rewatchability, obviously I highly respect the movie for what it is, and obviously like the way that it tackles mental illness in a time that like I guess like obviously mental illness has always been prevalent in society. It's always been a thing. It's just how it's been handled or mishandled in certain decades has always been questionable. But I feel like the 70s we start to see a little bit of it, not as much as we see today, obviously, but I was very pleasantly surprised and like of how this movie tackled it. I thought it was going to go in a much different direction, but this is just not a movie that I'm going to be returning to. It's so exhausting to watch. That's why I gave it a 9 out of 15.
Yeah, I agree with you. So this category is enjoyability and rewatchability. And I enjoyed watching this film as uncomfortable as it was. I was pretty well captivated. But I do not think it's really one that you want to watch again and again and again. So on that front, it is lacking. But that's okay. That's not what the movie is necessarily made for. I gave it an 8 out of 15 because I really enjoyed it, but it's not one that I'm probably going to keep going back to. However, in terms of story, I think that there's a lot of nuance. I think that there's a lot of excellent storytelling. There's a lot of lived in dialogue that contributes to the story in a way that feels authentic. I give it a 13 out of 15 because I think that what we're watching unfold is really up there in terms of stories that can be told through uh, film and independent film as well.
Yeah, and like I said, like, and this kind of falls back to what I was saying before. Like, I give high praise to this movie dealing with mental illness the way that it does, in the way that it does, in the format that it does, with the story that it's telling. There's just a lot of story beats that I feel like get introduced in a way, like especially like the affair. How do we just not ever bring that back up again? How does
See, I
that
love
not?
that because that's just what it is. That's just what it is. She just went and did
Yeah,
this thing and probably doesn't even remember she did it. Like,
yeah,
or
and
has,
honestly, doesn't even think that she was doing that with another person. Like she must have thought that that was Nick the whole time, or at some like for the most part, because there are some times where like she does bring up that like this is a different person, but
mm-hmm.
and then the whole story beat of like, and I get why it happened, but then all of a sudden everybody is at this house now. There's like 60 people inside of this house, and then it's just like, oh well, now everybody's leaving now. Like I just thought that was really random. Like I get why it was supposed to be included, but I feel like it was just like just adding more time to the movie. But again, I still think it is a pretty good story for what it is. So that's why I gave it a 10 out of 15. For lasting impression, and this is always tough.
Yeah.
I could
It's one
see
maybe
the
that I think we should
impression.
revisit at 50 movies, by the way.
Oh yeah, because much like I had messaged you about earlier, using this scoring tactic for just movies that I watch on the reg, it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy that I had Warfare over One Battle After Another. That's
Mm-hmm.
it's wild. Um, but again, we're talking about this movie. Lasting impression. It's always like, what has this made an impression on me? And I just keep going back to just how it handled mental illness in a very delicate manner, and that's what I can give it. But this isn't a movie that's like blowing me away and like has left me with a new take on cinema. Like it's just not. But I continue to want to give it respect and praise for what Cassavetes has done with this movie. So I'll give it a 9 out of 15.
Oh, wow. Okay. Like you said, this is a difficult category. Off rip, I give it a 12 out of 15 because it is initially one that I am noticing myself wanting to tell other people about, which I feel is typically a good sign that a movie is sticking with me off my initial watch, good enough to occupy my mind space going forward. But I feel good about that. I think that similar to scenes from a marriage or a separation, like this movie falls into that category for me in terms of the story that's being presented. And those two have stuck with me. Like I still really appreciate the watch of those films. And I think that
Mhm.
I'll feel the same about this movie going forward. For visual and auditory appeal, like I said earlier, I really loved the way that the film was shot. I love all of the super tight shots. I love that we're focusing on characters that aren't speaking while there's a ton of dialogue going off or going on off screen. The music in this film I thought was good, but didn't stand out to me necessarily. So I gave it an 8 out of 10.
So for me, obviously, like when we're looking at visual and auditory appeal, the first thing want to listen to for is the score, and I felt like there was very much a lack of a score.
Mm-hmm.
Feel like, and that's not what this movie is supposed to be. Like this isn't supposed to be like some sweeping like giant epic score. Like it's this is playing out like a stage play. Like there's vignettes of music in between scenes or is used to like heighten dramatic moments. Even that, like it's not even used. Like in the big climax before they like sentence her, like there's like almost no music. There's like nothing.
Which I
It's
like.
just what's that?
I said, which I really like.
Yeah, and it works in that aspect, but for this score or for this category, it doesn't like necessarily help it. A lot of the shots I thought were all right. Again, a lot of the close-ups, like I mentioned earlier, were very effective in like heightening the tension of the film. There just wasn't any like shots that I was like blown away by, or like
That's
necessarily
fair,
like
yeah.
the camera was there to kind of just be a fly on the wall, and like you could even tell like in some moments that it was handheld, like it's probably whoever the DP is just walking through like the party scene, and just like capturing all of these little moments. Like for that, I will commend it. Like the whatever the camera is looking at is capturing like just small things that make you like reflect later on. They're like, oh yeah, that did happen in the background. Like, oh yeah. Especially like when you're just like seeing Mabel tick like in the background when she's not even like the main focus. Like, but that's for another category. But for that, I give it a 6 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. For pacing, I gave it an 8 out of 10. For the pacing was slow. It was a very slow burn, which in most cases I don't like. And I mean, this movie I felt like I was watching this movie forever. Like I thought this
Yeah.
was going to be a 3-hour film the way it was going. But I mean, it's just that's Cassavetes working the magic of this movie. Like he wants you to stay in those. He wants those moments to like feel like you're going on forever because that's what the characters are feeling like.
Mm-hmm.
And while it to a fault, it like kind of deterred me from wanting to watch this movie. Hence why like I'm not giving it like a 9 or a 10. 8 just feels comfortable in the way that like yes it's a slow paced movie but it's for a good reason and it's for a creative reason and I can't knock the movie for that.
I also gave it an 8 out of 10. It's very deliberate. And I love what you said about this is how the characters are experiencing it too. The pacing of the film is so intentional that I don't mind that it's slow at all. And you do feel it does feel like a 2.5 hour movie, and it is, but it feels worth it. And for that reason, I liked it. That was good.
Does
That was
it
well paced.
though? I'm sorry to like interrupt but like can we talk about the ending for a second?
Sure.
Like all of this shit and I guess like that's like the reasoning behind it is that all of this shit just happened. You're going through this finale where you're thinking finally Mabel is out of the hospital. She's been in the hospital for 6 months doing God knows what.
Mm-hmm.
and she is just reverted back to herself. The family is going from having 60 people in the house to literally just having the family. It's deteriorating. The kids are going crazy. All of a sudden, it's just the two of them, and then pianos and kazoos start playing in the background, and that's probably why I also gave visual and auditory appeal a 6, because the music that's used to end this movie is so fucking silly. It's fucking pianos and kazoos, and they're just making their bed, and that's the end of the movie. Like, what? Sorry, it was like a little rant I went on. I like forgot to mention beforehand. I was like, oh my god, that was like,
I liked it. I liked it because it very much felt like, okay, back to probably this all over again.
which that I can understand. I was just like, the music choice was a little bit silly and like took me out of it. But
For acting, I'm curious what you gave this. I gave it a 10. I thought everyone was spectacular.
you know what, buddy? So did I.
Amazing.
What I will say is what this movie has going for it is, yes, the pacing is done pretty well. Like, it's a creative choice to make that movie, to make the movie paced as it is, but the actors are the ones to need to deliver it. If you're having that camera hang on people for a long time to create tension, you need actors who are giving 110% to make that illusion work, and they definitely, like, the kids are doing good. The smaller characters that like get randomly introduced in the movie are doing good. Like, there's like dramatic moments, there's moments that make you want to cringe, there's secondhand embarrassment, there's also funny ass moments, like when Mabel goes into the kitchen during the dinner scene, and she's like, oh my god, Tina.
Something in her eyes, you know.
Oh,
Makes
no,
you
don't,
so
don't.
fat.
What happened? You have
Yeah.
a fat ass. Like,
But it's sad too, up until that point. And of course, we can have the whole discussion as to whether she should still feel comfortable to express herself as she was encouraged to do so by her husband just moments earlier. Or should she try and just be what she expects everyone wants from her, what she is doing until she goes to the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
So
Which
yeah,
then
it's funny,
everybody's
but
just
it's
like,
also
oh,
sad.
well, what the heck was all of this even for?
Right.
But I think like the response to it too is that like the actors are like, they're just like, yep, I got a fat ass, she's got everybody here has a big ass. Like, they're just kind of just going with it. And also just like the first dinner scene where like Nick brings all of his boys over to like see Mabel, and they're all eating spaghetti and having a good time. Like, that was the most comfortable I felt in the film, because it legit felt like just watching a family just have dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just having a good time, and like I don't know, like everybody put in such a good performance in this movie. So props to them. The acting was incredible. So that's where we'll leave it at, dude. For suspension of disbelief, I gave it a 9 out of 10. This movie again puts you into these positions, and it feels very real. I would say again, just like my biggest, not like the one thing I have from suspension of disbelief is just like, again, the music choice for the finale, like really just like took me out of it. But I could see why, like, it was kind of like, I get where the director was going, and I clearly see the vision for, okay, this is just us starting over and possibly just doing this all over again. But the music choice just took me out of it. Like, it's just, I don't know. It was really dumb.
Okay. Yeah. I also gave it a 9 just because there was one thing that I thought was weird. And that was when his coworker falls down the hill, and it just kind of felt like an odd sequence that maybe kind of felt out of place and semi unrealistic. Like, he just ragdolls down this hill.
There's like no noise either. Like, it's just he falls down, and you're just like, wait, what just what just happened? And you just see like a shot of him rolling down a hill, and then everybody just like running down to grab him.
But that was it. I mean, for the most part, this movie is made to make you feel like you are living there with the characters, and it is largely successful in doing so. So I give it a 9. For originality, this is, I give it a 10. It's just a
Ooh.
I don't really have words to explain it. I guess it's just it really feels like such an original creation from John Cassavetes. And who else produced this? I don't think we mentioned his name, and we should, because he also shot the film. Al Rubin. So from Al Rubin and Cassavetes, and Peter Falk was also largely involved, I believe. And there was a lot of improv in this movie too, which is original in and of itself, because that being on set is an organic product of the circumstances that you as actors are building. So it just felt so original. It felt like you were there, and like this really was a moment in time that took place.
And that's where I'm like, I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, yeah,
And I agree. And wholly in part to like, one, the way that they treat mental illness in this movie is in my mind, like I was very blown away with how delicate they treated it and how the characters are like, again, I thought Nick was going to be pushed. I honestly thought she was going to get committed, and that was going to be a whole sequence in the movie where we're just watching Mabel in the hospital. But
we didn't see her at
the
all.
movie takes so much time for him to, be loving towards his wife, be accepting of the fact of her condition, and try and live with it as much as possible. Like, it was very commendable. And I mean, that's all in part to Cassavetes' writing and like the characters that he's creating, and just how he handles it is just so good for the time that it's made in. I don't know, man. Like, I kind of want to give it a 10.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to give it a 9. I don't know why, and I didn't know why, so I gave it a 10.
And so that's where I'm going to leave it too. Is I'm like, I don't know. Like, if we're both kind of like, I don't know, maybe I would have given it, then I'm just going to leave it as it is.
That's fair.
Because my attachment score is a 1.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's not a movie that I'm like personally attached to. Again, like, I'm applauding and commending this movie for what it has done in terms of like bringing light to mental illness in a way that should have been done a long ass time before this. But as in terms of like me enjoying this movie, like I would rather go rewatch like Uncut Gems or Good Times, and have that be my little piece of stress media versus this movie.
That's fair. I gave it a 3 out of 5. Kind of just a base score.
Yeah.
2s and 3s.
So,
I hand them out like candy.
You sure do. With a 10-point difference, which is a crazy spread.
And usually, I feel usually we're either close or you're slightly ahead of me. I don't think there's been many movies where I've been super far.
This is definitely a movie where like I'm like disagreeing quite heavily on how I feel about this movie versus you do.
That's awesome.
But that puts us at, it's what, an 81 is a
4-star.
It's a 4-star movie.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it a 3.5 star, as it's already showing on my Letterboxd.
Did you not heart it? Did it get a heart?
It did not get that shit. Did not get a heart. I'm sorry.
Dang it.
Which again, I never get what the heart is for. But
me neither. It's so arbitrary.
But like, when you give it though, that's when you're like, damn. Like,
I give it to most movies.
I don't. I'm like, I'll give it if it's like a really. I honestly feel like I give it if I'm like, I'm gonna definitely be rewatching this movie. Like, like if it's on TV.
For me, it's more of like you didn't get a heart. Like, yeah, I did not like that movie.
Fair enough. So that puts it
right
in between Sancho the Bailiff and Nobody Knows.
Okay. Yeah, right there, just above A Separation as well, which I think that there's a lot of similarities between those two films in some ways. Family character study, that's really the whole bit.
Without the whole like killing the wife and baby aspect of it, but
you get what I mean.
No, I do. There's definitely like that marital drama going on. 76. So that puts it at number 24 overall. So in the top 25, which I mean, in the grander scheme of things, will end up being very good once we get to 50 and 75 and 100. So
Mm-hmm.
We're getting there, dude.
It feels so good to be looking at this list again. I'm kind of just going through where we have everything ranked.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely liked looking at this list again. So I mean, even looking at like All About Eve, Sunset
Right, and
Boulevard.
I remember really liking All About Eve.
It's a Wonderful Life at the fucking 30 spot. That's wild. I remember like falling in love with that movie. You're like, this movie's like kind of fucking whatever, dude.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
So we love that. The Thing is still there, sitting at the top spot.
Yeah,
We
but
love
when
it.
you look at our top 10, like Witness for the Prosecution, that movie has stuck with me. I'd love to revisit that.
I still
High and
think about
Low,
Incendies every day, dude.
Incendies, Perfect Blue, The Thing, of course.
The fact that Perfect Blue is above Fellowship of the Ring is crazy, but I mean, it's the nature of the score. I actually, honestly, you saw Perfect Blue in its 4K restoration.
Yeah, in theaters. It was awesome.
Crazy that you watched that like pretty close to like when we released the ep, so it was like still fresh in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So we love that. But you know what else we love, Parker?
The Wheel.
A motherfucking
I
wheel.
really love The Wheel.
We love the wheel. No, we're back, baby. We got that. I guess there was an update on Wheel of Names. Now there's this nice little like colorful background that
I
we
like
get to
it,
look
the
at
gradient.
now. I know.
All right.
It's pretty
Are there
cool.
any movies that you're manifesting right now as we make our return?
Would it be crazy to pull Harakiri from our first movie back?
That'd be awesome.
But I feel like I also need something a little more contemporary.
Yeah.
Like I kind of want like
Maybe like
not
Rear
a Lord of the
Window,
Rings. I feel like we've pulled that so
Old Boy.
frequently. Old Boy, or you know what? I'm gonna pull for Old Boy, because he has a new movie coming out.
Yeah, he does.
That I'm really
Will
excited
actually
to
just saw
watch.
it. He said it was really good. Remember Will?
Yeah.
From
Yeah, how did he see it?
he said he went to an early screening of it.
Oh, because it's LA and
He said he liked
shit
it though.
happens all the time.
All right.
No,
I can't wait
I
any
heard it was
longer.
really good.
Huh?
So that's what I'm pulling for. I'm pulling for Old Boy.
All right.
Are you
Let's
ready,
do
Parker?
it.
Let's do it. All right. What do we got? Oh my God, we're back, baby.
We're so back.
we're so fucking. Letterbros is back, baby.
Let's go.
We're back with another fucking Bergman film. Hell yeah. And one that I've been wanting to see for a while, but it's been on the list.
It's
This
number
is some-
125 now.
What's
Can
that?
you believe that?
Oh, the Seventh Seal at 125.
Wow.
Damn.
What was it when we made the list?
88.
Wow.
That shit fell off. So for those listening, yes, we pulled Ingmar Bergman's The Seventh Seal from 1957. When we pulled this list, crazy to think it was almost 2 years ago when we generated this list.
Yeah.
It was at number 88 and is currently at 125. So still in the top 250.
I'm so glad we're
But, like,
watching it though.
Oh, same. No, I'm very intrigued to watch The Seventh Seal. I literally said in like early episodes, I'm like, if we watch another Bergman film, I want it to be The Seventh Seal. Like it fancies my interest.
Bergman really has just taken up so many of our early movies. Like we're not even at 40 yet, and this is what is this our fourth or fifth Bergman film?
I believe so. Like we are deep in this man's, like we are putting up double-digit percentages on his filmography on Letterboxd. Like who knows? Might even get to 100% at this point. Since the Criterion Channel loves him, the list loves him. I guess not so much anymore, but yeah. So we have The Seventh Seal from 1957, directed by Ingmar Bergman. The story of a challenge to death. When disillusioned Swedish knight Antonius Block returns home from the Crusades to find his country in the grips of the Black Death, he challenges death to a chess match for his life. Tormented by the belief that God does not exist, Block sets off on a journey, meeting up with the traveling players Joff and his wife Mia, and becoming determined to evade death long enough to commit one redemptive act while he still lives. This shit sounds fucking epic.
Sounds amazing. I'm very excited.
I am very excited as well. But we're doing it again, dude. We're gonna. I know we've been really busy. Just like outside of the pod and all that. Like so, but I want to just keep trying to get this consistent. Like I will. I mean, it's on Criterion, so I'll definitely be able to go and watch it. Parker will watch it too, and we'll keep trying to crank these things out as much as we can. Like
Absolutely.
so. But as always, Parker, it's a pleasure. I'm glad I was able to get back with you today to be able to discuss A Woman Under the Influence, and I'm excited to talk about our favorite director, Mr. Ingmar Bergman.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
In the next one. So, I mean, where can people find you, dude?
You are able to find me on Letterboxd at BergmanFan101. Just kidding. I'm going to change it to that, though. But at Parker
Bergman Fan XOXO.
Letterboxd. Yeah.
But again, you can also find me on Letterboxd at Batuboy, BATUUBOII. Consistently posting on there. I'm going to try and finish off the year. And here's hoping and praying that Marty Supreme will break the top 5, because Patrick gave it a fucking 5-star and he doesn't give anything 5 stars. So we'll see. And neither do you for the most part. So I'm very excited to see what you give Marty Supreme.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't anticipate it being a 5-star movie from me. I'm not that hyped for it, honestly, but you never know.
Yeah. I was just hyped for the Safdie brother movies, but I haven't seen Smashing Machine yet, but I heard it was mid.
Yeah.
But
haven't seen it either.
But with that, everybody, thanks again for listening to Letterbros, and we will see you at the movies.